Welcome to the SBA podcast, the official podcast of the School of Business Administration at Andrews University. Here, we dive deep into the conversations with our esteemed faculty, successful alumni, and ambitious students about their internship experiences.
I'm here with
Michelle Larby.
Okay, Michelle. What is it that you're studying, and what grade class are you?
I'm studying international business with a concentration in finance accounting. I'm currently a senior. I'm getting ready to graduate in May of 24.
Okay. How long have you been at Andrews for? Your whole 4 years?
Yes.
Okay.
Did my entirety here of the undergrad.
Okay. So this is about internships. We're going to talk about your experience as an intern, the different things that you liked, different things that you learned as a whole. So where did you intern?
I did my internship with Unfocus Incorporated, located in South Bend, Indiana.
Okay. Can you tell us about Unfocus, what they are,
Yes.
what they do?
So Unfocus is an innovation and talent development company.
Okay.
So their business model is structured around using college talent or young entrepreneurs around to basically carry out different projects.
Okay.
So that's how they manage the talent development side, and then they also cover the innovation side. So it's
Okay.
very interesting. It's like consulting, but with a heart, because it's also a nonprofit company.
Okay. Consulting with the heart, you said?
Yes.
Is that their slogan, or is that?
No. What is their slogan? Oh my gosh.
That's fine. So as an intern there, what was your role? What was your title when you were there?
Okay, I was a civic innovation intern.
Okay.
So in that role, my projects were mainly with the society, like the city.
Mm-hmm.
So like the mayor's office, or with charity, anything that affected the people of the South Bend, Mishawaka region directly.
Okay, so what were your three main responsibilities, I guess, that you dealt with while you were doing the internship? Like, what was, say, your day-to-day looking like?
Okay, so I can answer that two routes. So for my day-to-day, it was a hybrid role, albeit I was living on campus because they had a place for interns to stay, but it was hybrid, so I'd be in the office about 3 times a week,
Okay.
but it still was about 35 to 40 hours a week. So on the days where I'd be in office, I'd go in the morning, or maybe when I have a meeting, and then I would work with some interns or my project managers on whatever tasks we have. And then on other days, I can be home working, virtual meetings, or sometimes some interns would get together and just do our work together.
Yeah.
In terms of my responsibilities, I had 2 main projects, and in one of them, it was more so like a project managerial kind role. So I got to experience different aspects of business, communication, contract, and then also software implementation, because that was the main project for that. And then for my second project, it was a business development role. So I did some financial analysis, market research, because we were basically trying to start a new venture. So I did quite a lot.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Sounds like it. Do you feel like, I guess, what were some things that that you learned while here at Andrews and School of Business that you definitely were able to take with you to your internship? Like, what were some skills that you probably learned in the classroom?
Do you know there's one particular class that really helped me, and ironically it's Dr. Chi's business strategies.
Business strats?
Yes.
Okay.
As much as that class was tough, that class we had to basically make like a corporate plan, business plan, and that's essentially what I did for my first project.
Wow.
So that was like a direct translation there, knowing what to look for, how to draft it. And then there's also communication. Communicating with different stakeholders was very, very important. And then also Professor Pepper's finance. Actually, all the finance classes put together and accounting, because I had to do some research and market analysis. I think all of them, honestly.
All your classes,
yeah.
All your classes.
All everything.
That's really that's actually really good.
Yeah.
I'm happy that it was definitely Strats. She would be very proud to hear
yes.
that for sure. So like, what were some things that you for sure would say like you said you hung out with some of your interns, like what was that like what was getting to what were things that you probably learned from those interns and that you could definitely say that you probably helped them as well?
So the good thing was getting insight on how other colleges with similar programs or even different programs were maybe feeding or granting resources to the students. So I learned some new skills from other interns. I gathered some new like SOPs and just a way of working from them also. You learn more about the industry because they might know some things you don't. So that was one thing. And you hear what like the plans people have. I'm like, oh, I didn't know I could do that.
Yeah.
You learn like there's different perspectives to things. Like I learned project management versus business analysis, and that was very interesting to get to know. Sometimes things you learn in class like are simulated or like a case study is different when it's the real thing, you know. And
no, that's facts. I mean, I think internships are something that's really important because like you go in there to learn the job and you think you're going to learn so much from those who are your supervisors, but a lot of times those who you are working with also you learn a ton of things from your peers. Because everyone's so different, and everyone has, and it's a good thing that you got to see like different routes that you can go. Because I'm sure for you, as an international student too, so it can sometimes sound or feel like there's a lot of things that maybe I can't go there, I can't do that, but it's like that person is able to do. I can actually.
And the good thing about working there was that it was a very diverse pool we had. There was 22 of us. There were Indians, Pakistan, Africans. There was so many people.
That's really good.
And different backgrounds, English majors, science majors, we were all together. So
and I think that's an important thing because I think sometimes students or when you're in college, you sometimes forget that businesses need everything and they need everybody. And you might be studying a certain type of business, you might be studying a certain type of field, but at the end of the day, there are certain things that you might need help from an English major. Like writing and how to propose something. You might have the idea and the strategy, but they can put it on paper, and it definitely helps as well. So, do you think what were some like soft skills that you learned there that you've now been able to bring back to school?
Communication, and in different ways. I never thought I'd think of communication as multifaceted as I think of it now. So one thing was I mentioned stakeholders earlier. This is how I like to paint the picture. At the table, like in a meeting with the different people in the project, everyone has their interests. Like in class, the aim of the case study, this is one aim, to maybe meet a certain profit margin or whatnot. But there in a real life, everyone is there to serve their interest. And you as like in a kind of a project manager role, you're trying to communicate in a way that answers everyone, like gives the information needed, but at the same time stays on point with the agenda or the project goals. That's one. And then one thing that my project manager directly above me taught me was communication within Unfocus. So I don't know if any student is watching this, there's a class we take, college writing, and there's one thing that it teaches about like communicating within an activity session, like an activity group, like communicating in a different place. So in Focus, they had their own communication style that was like unique to that company. That's something I had to pick up. And in a 3-month internship, you have a short amount of time to pick that up. If not, you don't look qualified because you can do the work, but if you're not able to communicate it, it's a problem. So my project manager mentioned that to me.
There's a lot of companies that have their own jargon, right? So within the company and also just within that space is how do we communicate. You know, a lot of times you might go somewhere and you might have a different energy, or you go in there with a different vibe and it just doesn't fit what everybody else is probably doing. Like, you might be the most serious person who gets everything done, and you like to get the work done, and like you're not playing around, but you know, everyone else takes their lunch.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that, like, in some ways it could be communicated differently.
Yeah.
You know what, you know how if you like, it's not that you don't like people, but it's just you want to do your work.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like, no, take your lunch.
Like, on that, there was an incident that happened. So we had a project, right? And I'm a type of person that I do teamwork, right? It's been commended. However, sometimes I like to go do what I've been asked to do, then present the final results. My project manager said, no, I want to know where you're at, what you're doing, each step of the way. You know, and that's something that was different. Because, you know, in college, doing like group work, you divide the tasks, we all go, come back, and we've done it. Yeah. Not like that in the consulting one. That was very interesting.
Yeah. That's very interesting. I mean, did you ever feel that you were overwhelmed? Like, did you feel like coming from school and then going into an internship that you probably were like, man, this is a lot different than, you know, waking up and going to class? Like, was that work thing, was that something that was easy for you to just get accustomed to, or did it take you some time?
At some point, I did feel overwhelmed. There were a couple moments where I did feel overwhelmed because my role was requiring me to sometimes bring on board different skills. At some point, I had to make a floor plan. And I am not artistic in any way, so I actually called some of my archi friends, be like, hey, I need help. How do I go about this? So that's one thing that was overwhelming. And sometimes when different people are asking different things at the same time, it can get overwhelming. But, you know, by planning, task, and communicating where you're at, kind of fix that. So,
okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Because I know that sometimes, you know, when school ends, you know, you get so accustomed to being a student, and then you go into the work world, and it's like, whoa, I didn't expect it to be like this. Like give me school back.
Yeah. 40 hours a week, your time is not your time during that period. Is very interesting. Even when, like, I'm working from home, I think, oh, maybe I can have breakfast and, you know, get to work casually. No, at 8:30 your manager wants to talk to you because
it's time to start working. Yeah, and they're up already. They've been up already. So then it's also now changing your schedule, changing also your procedure of how you work. Where you start at, say they're up at 8:30, and it's like, wait, if they're up at 8:30 ready for a call, when did they originally wake up?
Exactly.
Right. They originally woke up 7, right? And so that means they probably, you know, walked their dog, made themselves breakfast. So now it's like, okay, so now I probably need to think about, do I change my way of how I live that way too, so that I can, you know, keep up with how the professional world is moving. I definitely do understand that one. I just want to also understand from you, you know, your interactions with, say, like, who were like some people that you for sure felt like took you seriously when you were working there? Like, say, like full-time workers, C-suite individuals. Did you ever like meet with any like important shareholders? Did you meet with any important you know, owner or CFO, CEOs? How was that interaction?
The good thing about Unfocus is that I saw the CEO a lot. He's always in there making a lot of calls. So I didn't really get to speak to him much, but he was there being an inspiration to us. I can say I had a comfortable relationship with our operations manager, our fellows. I did have a good relationship with them, and some other project managers who weren't even my project managers. They'd come up to me and they'd compliment me because I like to dress corporate there. Everyone was pretty casual, but I didn't know that, so I went corporate, and so that was like always a conversation starter. Also, being African was a conversation starter, so I did get to interact with different people, and that also kind of made the experience better because I wasn't just boxed into my colleagues.
Yeah. Okay. Like, what would you say is one of the things that when you were in the office interacting with like, you know, project managers and different types of people, were there any like career, not career goal changes, but in a sense like seeing how like they work and what they do, did that say inspire you to probably, you know, want to, maybe that's something I would also want to do as well?
Yeah.
Like, career-wise.
So one thing I would say is that it was an environment that encouraged learning and development. So it's not like if you don't know something, you can't do it. It's like if you don't know, go figure out how to do it and then come do it. So you're not being penalized for not knowing how to do something. Like at the end of the day, you're there because they deemed you capable. So because sometimes you go to internships, and what we learned in school is not applying, and you get scared. Don't get scared that there's that. And then I also discovered other aspects of the industry that I like to learn, like grant writing and grant management. Like it's a whole path on its own. It's something now I want to get into more. While I was there, I started picking up more data and analytics skills, and I'm feeding more into that. I realized that I may not want to be a project manager, but I do want to be a business analyst, like I mentioned before.
Okay,
So I learned a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really good. So to close it off, I just want to talk to you just about what is the one things for you to brag about yourself, like your biggest accomplishment that you like feel that, you know, made the summer worth it for you, like biggest thing that you got done that you were, not saying that you probably spearheaded or that you were just a part of. What was the one thing, you know, that you finished in the summertime in your internship that you're like, yeah, I'm really for real, like I'm here now?
I think I would say the first project that I was part of, because we implemented something for the Plymouth, Indiana County. Can't say much, but I did. So that was really nice. And then at the end of the project, when I saw that the value added was like $300 and something thousand, I'm like, oh, I did that?
Yeah.
That feels great. Like I tapped it in my resume. I'm like, wow, that's a lot. And that's nice. But also I will say it was the skills I picked up, to be honest. I wouldn't have known that I needed to pick this up if I hadn't done the practical real world internship. So now I feel like more full-fledged. Like I came out a better candidate. So I think that's my greatest achievement, frankly.
And then my last question is something that for you to say those who are listening, what is, you know, to like any, say, freshman, any incoming, you know, a high schooler, anyone like that, what would you say to them about internships, like the value that they bring and things like that? What would you advice you would give to them?
I will say internships are very important. Don't sleep on them. Apply as much as you can, because sometimes it will be challenging or discouraging. So apply for them, get some done. You can even starting on campus is a great thing, you know. Also talk to your teachers' advisors. Figure out where you want to be. Even if you're not sure, the internship will help you to know where you want to be. Ask questions, really. That's how you get to know what to do, where to do, when to do. Ask questions, have a plan. Very important, have a plan, a tentative for-year plan to have your internships during the summer, during the semester, whatever it is, have a plan, and it's going to be good for sure. Definitely do one. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
If you found this episode helpful, share with your friends and colleagues. Our podcast streams on all platforms that carry a podcast. Follow us on social media, stay up to date on our new projects. Your engagement and support make a significant impact. Until next time, keep exploring, stay inspired, and remember, together we can shape the future of business.